Hello there, my name is Payal Naraini and welcome to this video series. यहाँ हम कवर कर रहे हैं पूनम दलाल दहिया की एंशिएंट एंड मेडिवल इंडिया की थर्ड एडिशन, जो कि लेटेस्ट एडिशन है। इस किताब को हम थ्रूली रीड करेंगे और जहाँ ज़रूरत पड़ेगी वहाँ हम साथ ही साथ यूपीएससी एंड स्टेट सर्विसेज में आए हुए प्रीवियस ईयर के क्वेश्चंस भी डिस्कस करेंगे। एंड इस सीरीज़ में वीडियोस लगभग 30 to 35 मिनट्स के होंगे, बट इफेक्टिव होंगे, और हम ऑलमोस्ट 40 to 45 लेक्चर्स में ये पूरी किताब कवर करेंगे। और अगर आपने ये सीरीज़ 3 to 4 टाइम्स देख ली तो बिल्कुल ये किताब आपके दिमाग में छप जाएगी, एंड ट्रस्ट मी, आपकी एक्यूरेसी भी काफ़ी इंक्रीज़ हो जाएगी। साथ ही साथ आपका रिवीजन भी काफ़ी आसान हो जाएगा। सो अगर आपको रिवीजन के साथ साथ वैल्यू एडिशन भी करना है तो ये सीरीज़ पूरी फॉलो करें। आपको बस आपके पास ये किताब रखकर मुझे सुनना है एंड मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स मार्क करने हैं। So without any further delay, let's get started. हेलो देयर, वेलकम बैक टू द चैनल घटना सूत्र। यहाँ हम कवर कर रहे हैं पूनम दलाल दहिया की एंशिएंट एंड मेडिवल इंडिया थर्ड एडिशन, जो कि लेटेस्ट एडिशन है। और हम आज शुरू कर रहे हैं प्रोविंशियल गवर्नमेंट ऑफ दिल्ली सल्तनत, राइट? सो लेट्स गेट स्टार्टेड। Provincial government. The provinces under the Delhi Sultanate were called Iktas. They were initially under the control of the nobles, but the governors of the provinces were called muktis or walis. अब आप ध्यान रखिएगा, जहाँ पे भी हम की टर्म्स के बारे में बात करते हैं, राइट? सो यू नीड टू रिमेंबर द मीनिंग ऑफ दोज की टर्म्स, ठीक है? क्योंकि इसके रिगार्डिंग काफ़ी सारी एग्जामिनेशंस में सवाल पूछे गए हैं। लाइक इफ़ यू नो द मीनिंग तो आपके लिए एलिमिनेशन भी बहुत ईजी हो जाएगा एंड यू विल बी एबल टू गेट टू द क्लियर आंसर, है ना? They were to maintain law and order and collect the land revenue. The provinces were further divided into shiks, which was under the control of Shikdar, and the next division was Pargana, comprising a number of villages and was headed by Amil. The villages were grouped into units of 100 or 84, traditionally called as Chaurasi. The village remained the basic unit of the administration. The village headman was known as Mukaddam or Chaudhry. The village accountant were called पटवारी। सो हम यहाँ पे अभी की टर्म्स के बारे में बात करेंगे एंड की टर्म्स के मीनिंग भी जानेंगे, ठीक है? सो आप मीनिंग्स एंड की टर्म्स याद रखिएगा। इक्तास, प्रोविंसेस, मुक्तीज और वलीज। फिर वी हैव डिस्ट्रिक्ट, उसको हम शिक्स भी कहते हैं, और जो डिस्ट्रिक्ट को मेंटेन करता है दैट इज़ शिकदार। फिर डिस्ट्रिक्ट के नीचे वी हैव सब डिस्ट्रिक्ट, जो कि है परगना, एंड परगना कौन मेंटेन करता है? अमील। और फिर परगना के नीचे वी हैव गॉट विलेज, और विलेज कौन देखता है? मुकद्दम और चौधरी, ठीक है? अब बिफोर वी मूव अहेड विद द इकोनॉमी ड्यूरिंग द दिल्ली सल्तनत, आप इस टॉपिक को डबल स्टार मार्क कर लीजिए, क्योंकि इसके ऊपर बीपीएससी में 1994 में सवाल पूछा गया था, साथ ही यूपीपीसीएस में 2001 में इसके ऊपर सवाल पूछा गया था, ठीक है? सो लेट्स स्टार्ट। इकोनॉमी. After consolidating their position in India, the Delhi Sultans introduced reform in the land revenue administration. The lands were classified into 3 categories. Iktas, land assigned to the official as iktas instead of payment for their services. Khalista land, land under the direct control of the Sultan, and the revenues collected were spent for the maintenance of royal court and royal household. Inam land, land assigned or granted to religious leaders or religious institutions. As a class of Quds, small landlords, and the Hindu Rais, autonomous Rajas emerged, who not only enjoyed a higher standard of life, but sometimes they misused their power and exploited the poor peasants. Stern actions were taken against them by Alauddin Khilji. However, the general peasantry paid 1/3 of their produce as a land revenue, and sometimes even 1/2 of the produce. They also paid other taxes and always led a hand-to-mouth living. Frequent famine made their lives more miserable. However, Sultan like Muhammad bin Tughlaq and Firoz Tughlaq took efforts to enhance the agriculture production by providing irrigation facilities and by providing takvi loans. They also encouraged the farmers to cultivate superior crops like wheat instead of barley. Firoz encouraged the growth of horticulture. Muhammad bin Tughlaq created a separate agriculture department, दीवाने खोई। सो आप ये दीवाने खोई को स्टार मार्क कर लीजिए, क्योंकि इसके ऊपर पहले सवाल पूछा जा चुका है। और किन्होंने इसको क्रिएट किया था? इट वाज मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक, है ना? क्या बनाया था उन्होंने? एक सेपरेट एग्रीकल्चर डिपार्टमेंट जिसे हम कहते हैं दीवाने खोए। The Sultan and his nobles took interest in improving the quality of fruits in India, especially melons and grapes. Ibn Battuta recorded in his text that the soil was so fertile that it could produce 2 crops every year, rice being sown there 3 times a year. During the Sultanate period, the process of urbanization gained monument. A number of cities and towns had grown during this period. Lahore and Multan in the northwest, Baruch, Cambay and Anilwara in the west, Kara and Lakhnauti in the east, Daulatabad, Delhi and Jaunpur were important among them. Delhi remained the largest city in the east. The growth of trade and commerce was described by contemporary writers. Indian export at large number of commodities to the countries on the Persian Gulf and West Asia, and also Southeast Asian countries. Bengal, especially Sonargaon for muslin, a fine cotton cloth, and the town in Gujarat were famous for the fine quality fabric. Cambay in Gujarat was famous for textiles and for gold and silver work. India imported high graded textile, satin, etc., glassware, and horses from West Asia. From China, it imported raw silk and porcelain. Overseas trades was under the control of Multanis, mostly Hindus, and Khorasanis, Afghan Muslim. Inland trade was dominated by Gujarati, Marwari, and Muslim Bohra merchant. The merchants were extremely wealthy and lived a luxurious life. The Gujarati and Marwari merchants were mostly Jains, and they spent large sum of the construction for the construction of temples. Construction of roads and their maintenance facility was smooth for smooth transport and communication. Particularly, the royal roads were kept in good shape. In addition, a royal road from Peshawar to Sonargaon, Muhammad bin Tughlaq built a road to Daulatabad. Sarais or rest house on the highway were maintained for the convenience of the travellers. There were also arrangements for post to be carried very quickly from one part of the country to another with the help of relays of horses and runners who were posted every few kilometers. Cotton, textile, and silk industry flourished in this period. Sericulture was introduced on large scale, which made India less dependent on other countries for the import of raw silk. The paper industry had grown, and there was an extensive use of paper from 14th to 15th century. Other crafts like leather making, metal crafts, and carpet weaving flourished due to the increasing demand. The royal Karkhana supplied the goods needed to the Sultan and his household. They manufactured cost articles made up of gold, silver, and gold wares. The nobles also apt the lifestyle of Sultan and indulged in luxurious living. They were well paid and accumulated enormous wealth. The system of coinage had also been developed during the Delhi Sultanate. Iltutmish issued several types of silver tankas. One silver tanka was divided into 48 jital during the Khilji rules and 50 jital during the Tughlaq rule. Gold coins or dinars became popular during the reign of Alauddin Khilji. After his South Indian conquest, copper coins were less in numbers and dateless. Muhammad bin Tughlaq had not only experimented with token currency but also issued several types of gold and silver coins. They were minted at 8 different places. At least 25 varieties of gold coins were issued by him. The Turk popularized a number of craft and techniques such as the use of iron strips, use of armor both for the horses and the rider, improvement of rahat, Persian wheel through which water could be lifted from a deeper level of irrigation. Paper making, glass making, the spinning wheel, and an improved loom for weaving. Use of superior mortars which enabled the Turks to erect magnificent buildings based on the arch and the dome. Social system. There was a little change in the structure of the Hindu society during this period. Traditional caste system with the Brahmins on the upper strata of the society was prevalent. The subservient position of women also continued, and the practice of sati was widely prevalent. Ibn Battuta had mentioned the horror of the scene of a woman burning herself in the funeral prayer of her husband with a great beating of drums. The Arab and Turks brought a parda system in India. So who brought the parda system in India? It was Arabs and Turks. And the seclusion of women and the wearing of parda became widespread among women in upper Hindu classes of North India. During the Sultanate period, the Muslim society remained divided into several ethnic and racial groups. The Turks, Iranian, Afghans, and the Indian Muslim developed an exclusive groups, and there were no intermarriages between them. Hindu converts from lower caste were also not given equal respect. The Muslim nobles occupied high offices and were rarely the Hindu nobles, and very rarely the Hindu nobles were given high position in the government. The Hindus were considered zimmis or protected people, for which they were forced to pay the tax called jazia. In the beginning, jazia was collected as a part of a land tax. Firoz Tughlaq separated it from the land revenue and collected jazia as a separate tax and levied it on the Brahmins also. Even though slavery had existed in India since ancient time, it flourished during the Sultanate period. There were slaves markets for men and women, and slaves were hired for various jobs ranging from household chores to skilled professionals. Firoz Shah Tughlaq had bought about 1,80,000 slaves. Art and architecture. The art and architecture of Delhi Sultanate period was distinct from Indian style. The Turks introduced arch, dome, lofty towers and minarets, and a decoration using the Arabic script. They used the skill of the Indian stone cutters. They also added colors to their building by using marbles, red and yellow sandstone. In the beginning, they converted a number of Hindu temples into mosques. For instance, the Quwwatul Islam mosque near Qutub Minar in Delhi was formerly a Vishnu temple. But later, they began to construct new structures. Their policy towards temple and places of Hindu worship forbade new places of worship but allowed the repair of old temple. The most magnificent building of the 13th century was Qutub Minar, which was founded by Aibak. So, Qutub Minar किसने बनाया था? It was founded by Aibak in the 13th century, and it was completed by Iltutmish. This 71-meter tower was dedicated to Sufi saint Khwaja Qutubuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. The balconies of this tower were projected from the main building, and it was a proof of the architectural skills of that period. Later, Alauddin Khilji added an entrance to the Qutub Minar called Alai Darwaza. So, Qutub Minar से कौन-कौन related है? Like, who founded Qutub Minar? It was Aibak. Who completed Qutub Minar? It was Iltutmish. और Alauddin Khilji ने उसमें एक entrance add किया, that is called as Alai Darwaza. The dome of this arch was built on a scientific lines. The building of Tughlaq period were constructed by combining arch and domes. They also used the cheap and easily available grey colored stone. The palace complex called Tughlaqabad, which its beautiful lake was built during this period of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. Muhammad bin Tughlaq built the tomb of Ghiyasuddin on a high platform. The Kotla Fort at Delhi was the creation of Firoz Tughlaq. The Lodi Garden in Delhi is an example of the architecture of the Lodis. Music. New musical instruments such as sarangi and the rabab were introduced during this period. Amir Khusro introduced many new ragas such as Gora and Sanam. इसको आप हाईलाइट कर लीजिएगा. अमीर खुसरो ने किस तरह के न्यू रागाज इंट्रोड्यूस करे थे? दैट इज गौरा एंड सनम. He evolved a new style of light music known as qawwalis by blending the Hindu and Iranian system. The invention of sitar is also attributed to him. The Indian classical work Rang Darpan was translated into Persian during the reign of Firoz Tughlaq. Pir Bodhan, a Sufi saint, was one of the great musicians of this period. Raja Man Singh of Gwalior was a great lover of music. He encouraged the composition of great musical work called Man Kautuhal. ठीक है, तो आप इसको हाईलाइट कीजिएगा. राजा मान सिंह एज यू नो वाज अ ग्रेट लवर ऑफ म्यूजिक. साथ में उनका कंपोजिशन क्या था म्यूजिक रिलेटेड? दैट वाज मान कौतूहल. लिटरेचर. The Delhi Sultanate patronized learning and literature. Many of them had a great love for Arabic and Persian literature. Learned men came from Persia, and Persian language got encouragement from the rulers. Besides theology and poetry, the writing of history was also encouraged. Some of the sultan had their own court historians. The most famous historian of this period was Hassan Nizami, Minhaj-us-Siraj, Ziauddin Barani, Shamsiraj Afif. Birani's Tariq-e-Feroz Shahi contain the history of Tughlaq dynasty. Highlight the name Tariq-e-Feroz Shahi. किसने लिखी थी? बिरानी ने. And ये किससे related है? It's related to Tughlaq dynasty. Minaz-us-Siraj wrote Tabaqat-e-Nasari, a general history of Muslim dynasties up to 1260 CE. Amir Khusro, 1252 to 1325 CE, was the most famous Persian writer of this period. He wrote a number of poems. He experimented with several poetical forms and created a new style of Persian poetry called as Shabak-e-Hind, or the Indian style. He also wrote some Hindu verses. Amir Khusro's Khazan-ul-Futuh speak about Alauddin conquest. His famous work, the Tughlaqnama, deals with the rise of Ghiyazuddin Tughlaq. अब जैसे कि मैंने पहले भी बताया है, जब भी हम किसी राइटर के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं तो वी आर गोइंग टू हाईलाइट द राइटर्स नेम और उनका जो काम है, ठीक है, क्योंकि इससे रिलेटेड काफ़ी सवाल आ चुके हैं, तो की टर्म्स आपको याद रखनी होगी, ठीक है, एंड इट्स मीनिंग, साथ में जो भी ऑथर्स हैं उनका किया गया काम, ठीक है. सो आप अपनी बुक्स में भी हाईलाइट कर लीजिए. इट विल बी ईजी फॉर यू टू रिवाइज. Sanskrit and Persian functioned as a linked language in Delhi Sultanate. Zia Naqshbandi was the first to translate Sanskrit stories into Persian. The book Tutunama, or the Book of the Parrot, became popular and was translated into Turkish and later into many European languages. The famous Rajatrangini was written by Kalhana, belonged to this period of Zain-ul-Abidin, the ruler of Kashmir. Many Sanskrit work on medicine and music were translated into Persian. In Arabic, Al-Bruni's Kitab-ul-Hind is the most famous work. अगर फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल अभी जैसे हम पढ़ रहे हैं, है ना, अब आप जब भी ये नाम किताब-उल-हिंद आपको किसी एग्ज़ाम में अगर इस तरह का सवाल आया तो यू विल नो कि ये किसने लिखी थी. ये लिखी थी अल-ब्रूनी ने. सो कीप ऑन हाईलाइटिंग एंड कीप ऑन रिवाइजिंग इट, ठीक है. Regional language also developed during this period. Chanda Baradi was a famous Hindi poet of this period. Bengali literature had also developed, and Nusrat Shah patronized the translation of Mahabharata into Bengali. Key concept / term और साथ में meaning. So mark this important, right? क्योंकि इन concepts के ऊपर we will find lot of questions. Like अगर आप PYQs check करेंगे तो you will be able to see lot of questions on the terms, ठीक है. Majlis-e-Khalawat, the council of friends and trusted officers who advised the Sultan, though their advice was not binding. Amirs and Chalgani, noble group of 40, dominant during Iltutmish reign, Balban crushed their power. So Chalgani कब आई थी? It was during Iltutmish reign. और किसने उनको हटाया था? It was Balban, ठीक है. दीवाने वजीरत, finance department headed by Wazir. The Tughlaq period were the heydays of the वजीरत. अब इन की टर्म्स के ऊपर UPPCS में 1997 एंड 2014 में सवाल आया था, साथ ही BPSC में 1994 में इसके ऊपर सवाल आया था, ठीक है. सो मार्क दिस हाईली इंपॉर्टेंट, डबल स्टार मार्क दिस, ओके. Mustafi-e Mamlik, Auditor General responsible for state expenditure, in charge of account and receipts. Khazin, Treasurer. Barai Khas, the space where Sultan received all his courtiers including Khans and Maliks. Bar-e-Aam, the place where Sultan tried cases, received petitions and complaints from the people. Amir-e-Bair, control of boats. Mustasib, officers who kept strict watch over conduct of people. Diwan-e-Ishti-Halak, Department of Charity and Mint. Amir-e-Haqib, Barbik, Master of Ceremonies. Wakil-e-Dar, managed royal households. Zawabit, state laws. Jahandari, laws made by Sultan. Khet Batai, without separating anything, land revenue on basis of standing crops. Lang Batai, without separating grains from chaff. Ras Batai, after separating grains from chaff. Masahat, on the basis of measurement of land. Umara, plural of amirs. Amir mean noble or ruling groups in Delhi Sultanate. Ulema, Muslim or religious learning. Jazia, personal or yearly tax on non-Muslims. Mamluks, slave officers. Malik one of the highest grades of the officers. Fawazil, excess amount paid to the exchequer by the Iqtidars. So now we are done with the Delhi Sultanate chapter. Now we are going to start with the 12th chapter, that is Provincial Kingdom of Medieval India. As we have discussed earlier, the Delhi Sultanate expanded as a result of annexation of the state like Bihar, Bengal, Gujarat, Malwa, and various states of Rajputana like Ranthambore, Jalore, Nagaur, and Ajmer. The Deccan states of Warangal, Telangana, the Yadavas of Devgiri, the southern state of the Hoysalas of Dwar Samudra, and the Pandyas of Madurai. However, after the 13th century, around the reign of Firoz Shah Tughlaq, due to internal weakness, the process of disintegration of the Delhi Sultanate started. It was during this period that some of the provincial rulers declared their independence from the rule of the Sultanate, and a large number of regional states arose. The establishment of Vijayanagar and Bahmani kingdom were the result of the assertion of power by provincial officers like Harihara and Bukka, Alauddin Hassan, Baman Shah respectively. Similarly, the Sultanate in Gujarat, Malwa and Bengal and Jaunpur near Varanasi emerged as a powerful provincial kingdom. This constant evolution and development of provincial state can also be explained on the basis of growth of agriculture and agriculture related activities, as where good agricultural activities took place. It not only fed the population but generated a large surplus that could be sold and wealth could be generated. This resulted in the rise of powerful section in the society that controlled the agriculture surplus. Sometimes some members of this powerful section asserted themselves and acquired political power and became kings and established ruling dynasties, whereas sometimes some group came from outside who conquered the land, controlled the administration, and became powerful. An important point to note is that all these kingdoms had a regional history that predated the Sultanate period. For instance, Bengal was an important regional kingdom in the 8th and the 9th century under the Palas, and subsequently in the 12th century under the Senas. Similarly, four important kingdoms which arose after the decline of the Cholas and the Chalukyas were the Yadavas and Kakatiyas in the Deccan, and the Pandyas and the Hoysalas in the region beyond Deccan. Even the regional states of Vijayanagar ruled over different cultural zones. Hence, it should be noted that the provincial kingdom never disappeared. Though the regional dynasties gained and lost power, and the regions changed their geographical boundaries. Even though these states did wage war among themselves, they provided stability over their respective regions. These different regional dynasties had their own vibrant culture and exclusive art, literature, and architecture forms, and they too influenced each other. Thus, these provincial kingdoms were not close, isolated areas, rather, they were in continuous interaction, be it religious, cultural, or economic, with another kingdom. For instance, the early Vijayanagar ruler called themselves Hindu Surat Rana, meaning Hindu Sultan, where the term Sultan was borrowed from the Delhi Sultanate. Similarly, the Iqtidari system of the Delhi Sultanate influenced the administrative system of the Vijayanagar and Bahmani kingdom. They were well-established trades and commerce network, and a regular migration of artisans occurred from one region to another, as evident in the migration of the silk weavers, Patanulkars, from Gujarat region to the Vijayanagar state in the 15th century. Deccan and southern India. So before we move ahead with this topic, ठीक है, आप इसको डबल स्टामा कर लीजिए क्योंकि इसके ऊपर बीपीएससी में 2011 में एंड 2005 में इसके ऊपर सवाल आया था, साथ ही यूपी RO/ARO की एग्जाम में 2017 में आया था एंड यूपी PCS में 2018 एंड 2019 में इसके ऊपर सवाल आया था. सो राइट, सो मार्क दिस इम्पॉर्टेंट. ठीक है. द यादवास ऑफ देवगिरी 1187 to 1317 CE. The Yadavas of Devgiri, also known as Sevanu or Seona dynasty, ruled across the Deccan plateau from the 12th to the 14th century. अब हम जब भी किसी रूलिंग डायनेस्टी के बारे में बात करते हैं तो आपको उनकी टाइमलाइन भी याद रखनी होगी, क्योंकि कई बार अरेंजमेंट्स के क्वेश्चंस भी आते हैं जिसमें यू हैव टू सी कि कौन सी डायनेस्टी किस टाइम पीरियड में एग्जिस्टिंग थी. सो टाइम पीरियड इज़ एब्सोल्युटली इम्पॉर्टेंट. ठीक है. सो यादवास ऑफ देवगिरी कब थे एग्जिस्टेंस में? दे वर फ्रॉम 12th to 14th century. एंड उनका कैपिटल क्या था? दे हैड देयर कैपिटल एट देवगिरी, present day Daulatabad. They were feudatories of Rashtrakutas and the Western Chalukyas. With the decline of the later, they emerged as independent rulers ruling over the part of present day Maharashtra, North Karnataka, and Madhya Pradesh till the annexation by the Khilji Sultanate in 1370. Bilama, 1173 to 1191 CE, was earlier the feudatories of Chalukyan ruler Somaswara IV, but later acquired independent status in c. 1187 and founded the Yadavas of Seona dynasty. Muttugi inscription mentions him as Chakravarti Yadava. He fought with Hoysala king Ballala II to control the Chalukyan capital Kalyani and defeated him at Suratur. In 1190, he took over the Chalukyan capital of Kalyani and established Devgiri, now Daulatabad, as Yadava's dynasty's capital. He patronized the scholar Bhaskara, who was Nagarjuna's teacher. Simhana II, 1200 to 1246 CE, the most powerful Yadava king who took the Yadava empire to pinnacle during his reign. He was an able general and led successful military campaigns against the Hoysalas, the Kakatiyas, the Parmaras and Chalukyas. During his reign, the Yadavas' boundaries extended to western Madhya Pradesh and Berar, southern Gujarat, part of Maharashtra, Karnataka, the western half of Hyderabad state and the northern district of Mysore. He patronized Sarangadeva, the author of Sangita Ratnakar. Changadeva, famous astrologer. Anantadeva, another famous astrologer who wrote the commentaries on Brahmagupta's Brahmapusta Siddhanta and Vaharamihira's Bhrajagatas. Ramchandra, 1291 to 1309 CE, another prominent Yadava ruler who fought against the Vaghelas, Hoysalas, Kakatiyas and Parmaras. However, he was defeated by Malik Kafur, the general of Alauddin Khilji, in 1308 and was imprisoned in Delhi. Subsequently, the Yadava kingdom was annexed by the Khilji Sultanate in 1317, and many years later, Muhammad bin Tughlaq of the Tughlaq dynasty renamed the city of Daulatabad. Contribution of Yadavas. So before we move ahead with the contribution of Yadavas, आप इस टॉपिक को ट्रिपल मार्क स्टार मार्क कर लीजिए, क्योंकि इसके ऊपर यूपीएससी में 1995 में सवाल आया था, साथ ही यूपीपीसीएस में 1995 और 2002 में भी इसके ऊपर क्वेश्चन आया था, क्योंकि यहाँ पे यू विल सी कि ऑथर्स और उनका लिटरेरी वर्क के बारे में मेंशन किया गया है. सो ऑथर्स, जैसे कि मैंने आपको पहले भी बताया था कि ऑथर्स एंड उनके वर्क के ऊपर प्रीवियस एग्जामिनेशंस में सवाल पूछे जा चुके हैं एंड देयर इज़ अ हाई प्रोबेबिलिटी कि आगे भी इसके ऊपर सवाल आए. सो ट्रिपल स्टार मार्क दिस टॉपिक. ठीक है. Contribution of Yadavas. They were patrons of famous Gondeshwar temple in the 12th century Hindu temple located in the Nashik district of Maharashtra, which features Panchayatna's plan with a main shrine dedicated to Shiva. They were also the first major dynasty to use Marathi as their official language, as prior to them the primary language of the inscription were Kannada and Sanskrit. Authors and their work, literary work. Mukunda Raya, Viveka Sindhu in Marathi. Hemadri, celebrated Sanskrit author who lived in the court of Ramchandra. Chaturanga Chintamani, encyclopedic Sanskrit work. Introduced Modi script for writing in Marathi from Ceylon and has left some valuable historical sketch of Yadava dynasty. Mahim Bhatta, Leela Chitra. Gyaneshwari, a Marathi language contemporary of Bhagavad Gita. Chaun Darasa, Daksha Kumara Charita. Achnana, Vardhaman Purana. Bhaskar Acharya wrote what? Karna Kautuhal and Siddhant Shiromani. Highlight the work, okay? Sarangadeva, Sangeet and Ratnakara, considered to be the first book on music. Kamala Bhava, Santeshwara Purana. Kakatiyas of Warangal, 1163 to 1323 CE. अब इस टॉपिक को सिंगल स्टार मार्क कर लीजिए, क्योंकि इसके ऊपर UPRO/ARO में सवाल पूछा गया था व्हेन इन 2023. तो इसके ऊपर बहुत ही रिसेंट में सवाल आया है, ठीक है। ककाटियाज ऑफ वरंगल 1163 to 1323 CE. The Kakatiyas were the feudatories of Chalukyas of Kalyani, and Kakati Rudradeva, Pratap Rudra I, is considered the founder of the Kakatiya dynasty. They established their capital at Hanuma Konda and Orugula, Warangal, while their rule extended over the part of present-day Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, and part of eastern Karnataka and southern Orissa. The famous Kohinoor diamond was unearthed in Kolur on the bank of Krishna river, belonged to the Kakatiyas. They also patronized famous authors Jayappa Senani, who wrote Gita Ratnavali, Nritya Ratnavali, Vada Ratnavali, Tikana Somayaji, who wrote Nirvachanottara, Ramayanamu, Vijay Senamu, and Kavivaga Bandham, and Krishna Satakamu. Pratap Rudra I, 1158 to 1195 CE. In 1162 CE, defeated the Chalukyan ruler Tilapa III and laid the foundation of Kakatiyas and established Hanuman Konda as its capital. The famous Palandur War took place during his period. Later, he also successfully captured Kurnool district from the Velanathi chief around 1185 CE. Anuma Konda inscription of Rudradeva, that is Pratap Rudra I, is considered the earliest known record that describes the Kakatiyas as a sovereign power. Along with this description, Mangalu and Bayaram inscription describe the Kakatiyas as a branch of Rashtrakuta family. The famous Rudreshwara temple dedicated to Lord Shiva, Vishnu and Surya was built in Anamakonda by him. He also authored a famous Sanskrit word Nitisara. So, कौन से famous temple were built by Pratap Rudra? It was Rudrashwara temple and it was dedicated to Lord Shiva, Vishnu and Surya. ठीक है. And the famous work that was authored by him, क्या नाम है उसका? Nitisara, and the famous work is in Sanskrit. Ganpati Deva 1198 to 1262 CE. He was another important ruler of the dynasty who captured territories up to Kanchi from Cholas and invaded Kalinga and Western Andhra. He shifted the capital from Hanuman Konda to Warangal and took the title of Raya Gaje Kesri. He created the man-made Pakhal Lake in Warangal and issued Abhya Sasanam at Motupalli port. During his reign, one of his general, Rechela Rudra, got built the Ramappa temple dedicated to Lord Shiva, which in 2021 was declared a UNESCO heritage site. The temple is made up of granite and basalt and its foundation is built with the sandbox technique. So highlight the name of the temple. Ramappa temple किसने build किया था? He was the general, किनका? गणपति देवा का, and his name was Rechela Rudra. और Ramappa temple is dedicated to Lord Shiva. और 2021 में it was declared as a UNESCO World Heritage Site. साथ ही ये टेम्पल किससे बना हुआ है? फ्रॉम ग्रेनाइट एंड बासाल्ट. और कौन सी टेक्निक यूज़ करी गई थी उसके लिए? सैंड बॉक्स टेक्निक. ही ऑल्सो अडॉर्न द फेमस पोएट तिकाना सोमयाजी. रुद्रमा देवी 1262 to 1295 CE. She was the daughter of Ganpati and the first woman ruler of Kakatiya dynasty. Italian traveller Marco Polo visited during her reign and paid glorious tribute to her for excellent administration and rules, describing her as a lady of discretion who always strove to achieve justice and equity. Pratap Rudra II, 1295 to 1323 CE. His reign faced the Muslim invasion by Alauddin Khilji and Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, which eventually led to the decline of the Kakatiyas. The Hoysala dynasty 1050 to 1355 CE. The Hoysalas were originally the feudatories of Western Chalukyas who later established their independent kingdom with the capital of Halebidu and Belur and ruled over the part of present Karnataka and most of the Tamil region from 10th to 14th century. The rule marked a golden age in the history of Karnataka as they were known for their significant contribution to art and architecture and literature. Vishnuvardhana 1108 to 1152 CE, was the first important ruler of this dynasty, though was not its founder, as the Belur inscription of his reign mentions Sala as the founder of Hoysala dynasty. He annexed Gangavadi and part of Nolambavadi from the Cholas in 1116 CE. He is also known as Bittideva and Talakadugun. Initially, he was Jain but later converted to Hinduism under the influence of Ramanujarya. He patronized the famous mathematician Rajaditya and built the Kirti Narayan temple at Talkand, the Hoysaleshwar temple at Helibidu, and the famous Vijayanarayana or the Chenakesava temple at Belur in 1117 CE. Veeraballal II. 1173 to 1220 CE, another prominent ruler who retained the independence of Hoysalas and fought wars with the Yadavas, defeated Bilama V, Kalachuris, Pandyas of Madurai, and the Western Chalukyas Empire. He adorned the Jain poet Jana and Nemichandra and the Brahmin poet Rudra Bhatta. Narsimha II. 1220 to 1235 CE. He had to defend against the aggressive design of the Yadavas and the Pandya ruler. He lost the territory between Krishna and Tungabhadra to the Yadava ruler. Singhana, however, he defeated Maravarman Sundara Pandya and restored Rajaraja III to the Chola throne. He erected the Pillar of Victory at Rameshwaram. Narasimha III, 1263 to 1291 CE. In 1268 CE, he built the famous Hindu temple Kesava temple at Somnathpura on the bank of river Kaveri in Karnataka. The temple is built from soapstone and is known for its lethal turn pillars, symmetrical architecture, and intricate sculptures. It depicts the legends and spiritual stories from Ramayana, the Puranas, and the Mahabharatas. Ballala III, 1291 to 1342 CE. He was the last great ruler of the Hoysala dynasty. However, in 1310, he defeated Malik Kafur, while in 1342 he fell victim to the Sultan of Madurai and died on the Battle of Madurai in 1343. Later, his son Ballala IV continued his struggle with his aggressive neighbors but could not achieve much, and eventually, with his death, the Hoysala rule came to an end. So that's all for the day. In the next chapter, we'll start with the contribution of the Hoysalas. So keep on watching Ghatna Sutra. See you next time.